everyone, and welcome to the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival virtual experience. My name is Stephanie Tavares Rance, and I'm the co-founder of the Academy-accredited Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. Today, I am delighted to join Michelle Mitchell and creators from Facebook's We The Culture's creative community to discuss how Facebook is helping to provide equity in media for Black creators through We The Culture. You know, the last time I saw Michelle was during our in-person festival on Martha's Vineyard this past August. And, thank God we were able to do it COVID safe. And it was such a wonderful homecoming experience. If you haven't been to Martha's Vineyard, it's a beautiful island and it just feels like a hug for people of color. She and I had the opportunity to talk about We The Culture, and I'm so excited to be a part of today's conversation. So without further ado, I would like to invite Michelle up to introduce herself.
Thank you, Stephanie. Indeed, it was a hug that I experienced when I went to Martha's Vineyard. It was amazing. The excellence that you're curating and the art that you showcased on the island was fantastic. And I was just so excited to be there to support in our sponsorship of the festival this year. So kudos to you. As mentioned, my name is Michelle Mitchell, and I lead We The Culture for Facebook. We The Culture is our love letter to Black creativity and those that are pushing the culture forward. And of course, it's brought to you by a highly melanated crew at Facebook. So We The Culture is a movement that is all about giving credit where credit is due. And today, Stephanie and I will be joined by three incredible artists from We The Culture that will join us in a conversation about Black creativity, their careers, and more.
Back on Martha's Vineyard this past August, Floyd and I had the pleasure of watching the We The Culture Jubilee short piece, and we were blown away. The 6-minute film felt like an invitation to an incredible community of creators who are pushing culture forward across multiple segments of media. I'd love for you all to see this, so let's enjoy it.
Welcome to the House of Jubilee. This is the house our ancestors built. Remember, way back then? We are their wildest dreams. Welcome to the function. This is our glory, where we celebrate and capture sunlight, sachet, milli rock, and jazz into the moonlight. This is where passion meets creativity. We come from a long line of excellence. Meet our creators.
We deliver range. We are tastemakers, makers of the secret sauce. We create our own seat at the table where every belly is full. We are innovators, communicators of joy. We are the Jubilee and the resistance. We are the engineers of ingenuity.
Basketball is my superpower because I understand using basketball, I can help the youth, I can help my community, and most importantly, I can help others understand their greatness. Now, tap into your superpower. Don't you ever give up, always stay locked in, and have a blessed day.
We make power moves. We are the weavers of magic, the connectors and leaders of tomorrow.
My legacy is for the little anarchy. This is more than dress up to me. My fabric is made of my dreams, the characters that inspire me, the princesses they said I couldn't be. This is my legacy.
We are resilient. It's embedded in our bones. We play the hands we are dealt and conquer. We are here to reclaim what is ours. Our survival is the thread that binds us.
I believe wholeheartedly and unapologetically that Black women are worthy of being seen, of being loved, of being celebrated, of being protected. We deserve the space and the freedom to explore and embody joy without shame, without restriction, without judgment. We deserve to experience our bodies as a home for love.
Changing your body and really yielding the results you want, you definitely need to pick up some weight. When I think about legacy, I think about doing meaningful work that's going to inspire younger generations in the health and wellness space. And I'm always encouraging that we really look at health as with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And if I could do anything to really, really encourage those to look at that and make that a priority in their lives, I know I'm gonna leave a great legacy.
What is my legacy? My legacy lies in the stories and the characters that I'll create. beautiful, multi-dimensional Black people on screen, giving permission to real-life people to heal, to love, to take up space, to live out loud, to slay giants, and to live authentically. Because we deserve to see ourselves, not a part of ourselves, but our full, whole Black selves. We deserve to see our joy and our pain. We deserve to see our complexities, our insecurities. We deserve to see our queerness, our manhood, our womanhood, our coming of age. We deserve to see our softness, our femininity, our laughter, and our rage. My legacy will be cemented in displaying the fullness of us.
I tell stories because it is the foundation of our communication. You ever think about how we communicate? At the end of the day, what keeps us excited is the story that someone's telling. I intend to be one of the elite storytellers, and I think you can too. I think it's also important never to hold back information. If you learn something new, pass it on to someone else. When I was coming up in the industry, it was hard for me to get information, so as I got it, pass it on immediately. And you know what happens when that happens? They give it right back. You get blessed even more.
We reclaim equal opportunity. Sometimes all we need is a believer, someone down to ride. We are the bridge that chariots use to cross over to the promised land.
So I got into this pretty organically. Really, it just started as a love for horses with my family. And they found a little town in Compton, moved there, got a couple horses, and really the rest is history. And me and my homies grew up loving horses, riding horses, and that saved our life and changed our life, so now we're paying it forward. Okay.
We make a joyful noise. This is the soundtrack to our lives. A hip sway, a snap, a step, a lean back and a hand clap, a melody, a beat, a string in perfect harmony. This is our love letter to Black culture. We bear the fruits of our ancestors' labor. Black then, Black now, Black forever.
I teach because I want to inspire the youth to understand that giving up is never an option.
I create because I love being able to express myself by showing love to the characters and stories that inspire me every day.
I created a community for Black Cowboys because I feel like our culture was swept under the rug and taken over by the powers that be, and I'm not going for it.
Health and wellness for me is a lifestyle, an expression of self-love and self-care that allows me to thrive in the body that I wear.
I create space for Black women to journey towards self-authorship, self-love, and sustainable joy as they heal and take up space expansively. Black woman, I am here to remind you that you are worthy of everything you desire.
I create for the melanated, for our brilliance, for the way we turn our pain into comedy, for the way we lift as we climb, for the way our swag and our sound becomes the blueprint that everything is built upon. I create for us, period.
We the culture.
Oh my God, wasn't that awesome? Michelle, can you tell us about your inspiration for this short piece?
Absolutely. We were really just trying to share with people what we had been talking to them about. And we know how powerful video is as a medium. And we just kind of wanted to capture the experiences that we've all had, whether that's, over someone's house, it's summertime, there's food, people are talking, people are doing what they're doing. And frankly, they're dropping a lot of knowledge and sharing what they're passionate about. And so that's what you really saw played out on the screen. From filmmakers, health enthusiasts, Cowboys, the community for us comes in so many different flavors. So we wanted to just reflect that. Between our creator program, where you have 120 amazing voices speaking on things that are important to them, to our 20 Facebook Watch shows that we've launched in partnerships with our originals team, to the 9, 10, 11, 12, I don't know how many we have at this point, accelerator programs that are focused on film, news, sports, digital publishers, fashion design. We just pulled up at New York Fashion Week 2 weeks ago. We're now supporting over 600 Black creators, and we literally, it's kind of a dream come true, and we're only going to be continuing to grow from here because there's so much more that is untapped in our community. So let's talk about the amazing folks that we're here with today. I'm going to start with Deon Ivory because you saw her beautiful face in the film. She is an LA-based creative director, photographer, wellness visionary who creates and curates visual experiences centered around storytelling, self-love, and the advancement of Black women. She's the founder and creative director of the Body a Home for Love. It's a 501c3 that is focused on shifting culture around how Black women heal from sexual trauma. You've heard from Deon. You'll get a chance to speak with her soon. Her work has been featured in Essence, Glamour, Refinery 29, Vogue, and other national and international publications. We also have TT the artist, Tidra Wilson, who's known as TT the artist. She is a musician turned director who intersects elements of performance art, fashion, dance, music, and filmmaking. She's born and raised in South Florida. Her bold and colorful visual storytelling is influenced by her love for Black cinema, fashion, performance art, and hip hop culture. I hope she will talk a little bit about a really exciting new project that dropped this year. We will hear about that from her. And then we have Dougie Cash, who's a producer and former development executive at Overbrook Entertainment. The recently retired film and television production company run by Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and James Lasseter. He's from the Bronx. He began in the unscripted space for MTV Networks, working on things like 16 and Pregnant, Teen Mom, Made, The Real World, you name it, Dougie worked on it. But he's fully transitioned over to the world of scripted TV and feature films, having produced To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I watched it, which was released in August 2019. It's a worldwide hit. It's the most rewatched film on Netflix. I have seen it 2 or 3 times. And it has emerged a number of amazing stars as well. And he is also on Cobra Kai, which, as you know, is Emmy nominated. And of course, we all know and love Stephanie Rance, who founded Martha's Vineyard Festival in 2002. And it's literally one of the fastest growing festivals in the country. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I really want to go directly to you, Deon, to kind of talk a little bit about, what inspires you to get into the arts. I know you speak a little bit, you spoke a little bit about what inspires you to push Black women towards healing, but what's the intersection of those two things? And do you think that that's something that Black people or Black artists generally do, leaving healing with art?
Leading healing with art. I think that for me, and as I reflect on my childhood and all the traumas that I've gone through and me living this adult life that's full of so much joy and life, I realized that creativity was instrumental in how I was able to save myself, right? Or become my own best friend, or just become everything that I felt like I had to outsource from everyone else. And it was all through art. And as a Black woman, I think that it's important for me to show women that even though you've gone through trauma or, really hard situations, you can journey towards self-authorization, right? Or self-authorship, or self-love or sustainable joy. That's something that all of my work is centered around. It's how do we create a lifestyle of sustainable joy? And all of that is really rooted in being intuitive and intentional and introspective about what makes you feel good, what's good for you, what feels good to you. And so art is just such a beautiful way for me to express that. It is, like you said, a visual love letter to Black women. And I do that through various things, even my personality. I know that may be a random, intangible thing, but I feel like God has really gifted me with this spirit of joy that's very welcoming, and you can feel that in my work. It's, you feel the joy, you feel the love. I'm always turned, I'm always lit, I'm always excited, and I think that it's my form of ministry. That's what I like to describe it as, because it is, divine femininity. It is divine and spiritual and all of these beautiful things. And so I feel like I'm kind of leading this charge around creative wellness, which is, using art as a restorative tool for healing. And I've been able to tap into that through photography, through illustrating, through programming, through spatial design. And it's really beautiful to be fluid and to show up in whatever way feels good to me and not limit myself. Because I feel like a lot of times, people try to make Black women one-dimensional. And it's baby, I'm all this and that, And so even thinking about Solange,
talking about being too many curves and being, you know, to this or to that. I just think that embodying everything that feels good, that is a reflection of what joy looks like to you, is how we can live in our purpose and how we can empower other women and other people in general to do the same.
I love that you're thinking about it as your ministry. You definitely ministered to us in dance. In the film we just watched, we definitely know that you like to bring the energy in, and I appreciate so much about you. TT, I saw that you were sort of nodding your head. I'm wondering if anything in what Deon shared really resonates with you as an artist, as a Black woman who's bringing their artistry to the forefront, especially through music, which has been a place where you've been very successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, just really that balance. And like she said, that inner self-love and finding your joy in all the things that, you know, you were gifted naturally. You know, I feel like we're all kind of given these gifts that lead us to our purpose and passion. And for me, life became about finding that source of happiness, because I felt that the happiness was the root to me finding my purpose and me finding my passion and being able to like become sustainable in that space, in the creative space, as a female and woman of color and queer woman of color in the entertainment world. So I found that balance definitely through finding the happiness and finding the source within myself. So I totally love that messaging.
I love that. And I have a specific question for you, which is really about how you decided that you wanted to move into film from music, and sort of how you intersect your experience as an artist to create those projects in film. And maybe you could tell us about your docuseries.
Yes. So, you know, I started making music very early on, you know, I would say as a freshman in college. And then, you know, I realized once I became an adult, I realized, you know, this is something I love to do, make music. And I started making my own music videos because and I'm coming out of Baltimore City originally, and we didn't really have the resources to just hire people and have budgets to do our music videos. So I found myself directing all my earlier on music videos, and even to this day I'm very much involved. And then I started directing videos for local artists, and then I realized there's a culture coming out of Baltimore club music and dance, and I wanted to document that. And so that kind of set me on the path to working on my first feature documentary, which is now streaming on Netflix. It's called Dark City Beneath the Beat, and it's a musical hybrid doc that really explores the art and culture coming out of Baltimore City and the music scene, which is really what gave me my creative identity, I feel. And so that door kind of opened another door, and I ended up working with actually Westbrook, the agency, and YouTube Originals to create the new Alicia Keys 4-part doc series called Noted, Alicia Keys, The Untold Stories. So that's my most recent. It just came out on September 30th, and it was really quite an event. For me, it was probably the biggest to date. I mean, getting on Netflix was one thing, but now directing and working with a living icon was another, and a woman that has influenced me in my career and inspired me. So I'm just so honored to, you know, be able to have a chance to represent as a woman of color in the film space, and I'm looking forward to like where my career goes from here.
I love that. You know, I was watching it this morning, and I was like, wow, it was so honest, even in its first episodes, and kind of like the way that it focused on her getting to her truth. You can see how art can kind of push us to grow or catch us where in a moment of growth, and it means different things to different people. But I'm so excited about going on that journey that you're going to take us all on. So thanks for letting us know where we can find it.
Yes.
I'm so excited. So Dougie,
checking it out.
Of course. Listen, you do not thank me. I feel like I should pay you more. So Dougie, your resume is super impressive. Like from TV to film, you've worked on some of the most impactful series that, like, you know, definitely everybody has watched, right? You were We The Culture personified, I can say, because you've been on that journey, you've been hustling, and it's paying off. So how'd you get your start in the industry? What's been your most favorite project to date, and like most impactful, maybe even on you as an artist, as you're sort of developing in production and moving from one stage to the next?
Well, first, let me say it's an honor to be on the panel with 4 powerful Black women. And I do want to say, I'm not just saying this, women to me are superheroes. So I guess I'm an honorary girl today. Well, I got my start right out of college. I was one of the first ones in my family to attend college. It was very important for me to break that generational curse or those cycles. And that takes discipline and a conscious effort. And one of the things about me is I've always been very outgoing. So, once I went to college, I started interning right away, and I made sure to stand out. So I always made myself readily available. I made sure to introduce myself to everyone. I've never been the type of person to shy away or approach someone who was the CEO. I would sort of treat them the same, and I would try to, leave breadcrumbs within their mind that, this guy's different and he's smart. So that's really how I got my start. And then, I think the most impactful project that I worked on that people wouldn't know of is the Sprinter film behind me that's also on Netflix. And the reason I said it was the first feature film that I worked on, and what's really cool about it is we shot it 90% of it in Jamaica. And it was, 100%, well, I think 95% Black crew, Black talent. A lot of the actors on the show were first-time actors. And I think that was really cool, really getting to give people an opportunity on a major platform for the first time, and just seeing how their career, and forgive me, I'm old, so I'm blanking on the name, but the lead actress in the film has gone on to book amazing other projects, that sort of put her on the map. And the main guy, Deun, he's living in LA now. And interesting story is, so the story's about this kid, and sorry not to go on a long tangent, but the story's about this kid who's trying to reunite with his mother in America who overstayed her visa. And it really felt like art imitating life, because he never met his real mother in real life. So in doing this film, when we shot the last 5-10% in LA, he was able to meet his mother for the first time. And, it's moments like that you can't buy, right? Those are invaluable moments. So I would say Sprinter, but I'm just blessed to have been a part of everything I've done thus far.
Wow. It is really interesting when you have those moments, and then you it's almost like the Matrix. You're like, are we in or are we out of the story that we're telling? And maybe we're all the protagonists in our own story, which we are. And it's all about the impact that you have on others, which obviously, Stephanie, you and Floyd have had such an impact on so many artists over the years. I guess I want to know if you have questions for our We The Culture creators, as well as we kind of, experience them kind of sharing who they are. And I know you've had the opportunity to see hundreds over the last, years that you've been doing this.
Yeah, no, I think what you are doing is absolutely fantastic. I think what our audience will want to know is, how do we find out about We The Culture? Like, what's the criteria to be a part of this? Like, what do we have to do this? How can I help spread the word to the, gazillions of filmmakers that we know, so that they can understand and appreciate that Facebook is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, look at this lovely Zoom of these beautiful brown faces. How filmmakers, or not even just filmmakers, but artists, get involved with this?
If you are watching, please go to your phone and follow at We The Culture on Facebook, on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on other social platforms. I promise you will want to be watching this space soon, because I'll want to be saying some things soon about people, ways that people can join with us in our work to express ourselves, right? So follow the handle, tell a friend, and we can say more soon. But separately, Stephanie, we had an open call August of last year. We had thousands and thousands of people that signed up for something that was like random Black creator program by Facebook in a weird form. And I think some people were like, is this real? I was talking to one of our creators, BK Reader in Brooklyn recently, and she was like, the application said, do you want to make your dreams come true? And she's so like active. She was just like, I was like, what does that mean? But yes. And he was like, I filled it in, I didn't hear anything, and then I did, and I was surprised that I got it. And since then, she's been able to shift the way that she's doing her storytelling. She's been able to hire folks. We've seen lots of stories come out of what people have been able to do with the opportunity and the platform. So, I'd love to hear how it's been going for you all.
Well, I can go first. I mean, I think the program is absolutely amazing. And even the application process was a little weird. I was like, what is this? I was like, because I had a friend DM me about it, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but okay. And so we applied, my organization, the Body Home for Love, we applied at the very last minute. And then out of nowhere, it was like, oh, you got the grant. And I was like, wait, what? And so, obviously we're very excited because, I mean, to be sustained by the work that you do is such a blessing. And to be able to be a creative, not create from a place of survival, but just out of like joy and out of like thriving. I mean, it's like, it's two different ways that you create, like you're pulling from two different sources. And so being able to create from this place of abundance was really revolutionary in so many ways, especially like, as I said, as a Black creative. And so for the Body of Home for Love, we are hell-bent on providing accessibility and resources to Black women who are healing through joy. Like that's our entire methodology. And so being able to do more research and create content that allows Black women to journey in a practical way on self-love, because sometimes it can be abstract, like what is joy? It could be anything. And so being able to contextualize things and give people like practical tools on how they can journey through healing has been really beautiful for me as the person providing the information and for the women in our community. And even like my team members, we all just talk about how we've learned so much and how we've been able to do so much and pay for local practitioners, pay for trauma-informed care so that we can merge this like clinical and creative form of therapy for these Black women. And so We The Culture has been extremely instrumental in us just becoming more legit and being able to, like I said, provide more educational, engaging, and powerful content to Black women. So I'm extremely grateful.
And you touched on something that I thought was really interesting. You were saying, is this real? Is this something? And then you did the process, and then here you are. You were one of the grantees, and that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important for artists to know that you got to take that chance and do it. Sure, it's real, because we never know what's going to happen.
You don't, and here we go with 6 figures, and it's just like, wow, the world is our playground. We can do all the things that we want to do because those resources are important to the work and the quality of work that we want to produce that we're worthy of.
Fantastic. And TT, can you talk about how it was for you? Like, how did you find out about We The Culture? The process was the same as her saying, is this real? Like, oh my God.
Well, actually, it was kind of during that COVID pandemic moment where, we as artists were trying to figure out, well, how do we sustain? I had just got a new apartment and everything. And a friend of mine had sent me this link, and it was probably 2 days before the deadline. And I had just applied for funding. I was looking into all the resources and kept getting unfortunately, we've had a lot of people who applied. And then, like, even with the quick turnaround, as soon as I did the application, within a couple of weeks, I got an email saying you were accepted to the program. Then I read on further, and I'm like, well, this is great, making content, which I'm already in the groove of doing. But I feel like it was a part of manifestation on my end. Like, I was like, I would love to find a way where I can get my ideas funded. And I feel that one of the things and missions for me as a filmmaker is pushing independency. I think we get a lot of filtration when you get into these spaces where the politics come into play, and you don't really have a lot of room to be creative and be, as expressive because of the politics and who's paying for what. But when you have your own budgets, you can push more of your original ideas through. And so that's what I have found within this program, that I'm able to not only collaborate with people that I always wanted to collaborate, because now I can kind of cut the small talk and be like, hey, I have a budget for this. And then also, again, like just having the ownership and creative license to just really explore these ideas that I wanted to move forward with that, I unfortunately didn't have the resources originally. And I feel like this is a great way to start up something that, you've been really, really interested in pursuing in your career. And so I'm so blessed to be a part of this, and I want to continue to grow with Facebook because this has been a rewarding experience, truly.
And Dougie?
For me, it really happened with, after the unfortunate murder of George Floyd, I saw that there was a lot of chaos in the world, and it just felt very chaotic. And one of the things I did, we were stuck in a house, is I would host various Zooms where I would have 20 to 30, celebrities, athlete, high profile actors, directors, et cetera. And, it was sort of an amalgamation of various ethnic groups and genders and just different walks of life. And we were talking about the issues. And one of the things that I realized on these Zooms that I was doing, there's just a disconnect between information and I feel like we live in a day and age of radical and extreme, and everyone is forcing their POV or their will on people, but they're not listening. And what I wanted to do, and then people get canceled, et cetera, et cetera. So, one day I was in Miami and I was having a debate with my co-host on my podcast, Joe Bond, and Snoop overheard us, right? And Snoop goes over, he goes, "Hey, y'all need to start a podcast." And from there, someone hit me up about, this We The Culture program. And it just sort of was like divine intervention from God. And one of the things I learned is sometimes when you're trying to spread positivity, things will naturally align if you just walk the steps. And that's essentially how it happened. And, one of the things I'll say, it's been very impactful thus far, right? Like I like to think I'm kind of a dinosaur when it comes to technology in some regards. So there was absolutely a learning curve for me. And it's sad because I'm not that old. But I will say in a year's span, one of the things that's been really great, I've, was able to sort of, have over 15,000 followers on Facebook, which is insane. So there is people resonating with a lot of the conversations we're having. We've had, polarizing, iconic people from heavyweight boxing champions to ex-mafia bosses to, actors like JoJo Gibbs on 20s who works with Lena Waithe. And, I think that the conversations that's being had has also had me land on a lot of the radar of a lot of, your favorite actors or favorite people that just randomly reach out, like, keep doing what you're doing. And the fact that Facebook is on a global scale and it's all over the world, it's like, you can't buy that type of access. So I really salute and tip my hat to Michelle for having the wherewithal to sort of create this thing. And she didn't just create something on a small scale. She created it, and it's almost like she robbed the bank. You're talking about I think certain people like Michelle are trailblazers, and kudos to Facebook for even, being intelligent enough to lead the charge in doing this. I mean, look at these amazing artists here, and it's just a fascinating experience, and I hope to continue to partner with Facebook. It's been an incredible journey.
I want to say one last thing, because you was preaching a word and I was like, But no, I mean, and at TT as well, like, I think that one of the most beautiful things about this entire process is that a lot of times Black creators want to work with other Black creators. And then, like you spoke to, like, I directed my first film this year called Black Women Are Worthy, which is like the catalyst for this $2 million fundraiser that my organization and I started. And without the We The Culture funds, like, that wouldn't have happened. But what was really special about that was that it was 100% Black women in that bad boy. Like, the DP, the stylist, the muses, the hairstylist. It was just so, like, insanely amazing. And then what we were able to do with that amount of money, like, people were just absolutely mind blown. And I just felt so grateful that the abundance started here, but it was able to spread, it was able to generate, and like, I was able to like sustain other people and like gift other people with that abundance. And I think that that's really a beautiful aspect of this entire program, is that it doesn't stop here. It goes out into the world. So this is such a brilliant idea, Michelle. And I sing your praises all the time.
Listen, it's a team, and there's so many people behind the scenes that are literally on a daily basis trying to figure out how we drive more incremental value for you all. It's literally what we think about all the time. And I love that you tapped into this like concept of paying it forward, because it's like, to whom much is given, and that's something that people are already all feeling and pushing forward. And it's a circle, right? It's like, it's Stephanie supporting artists, Facebook supporting Martha's Vineyard, Vineyard's artists supporting entire worlds of creativity. And it's something that we feel really very strongly about in terms of how we're trying to be intentional. And obviously there's always going to be tension between like being intentional and scaling. It's like, how do we make it big, but how do we do it in a way that we don't lose the soul of it? And I love that you all are on this ride with us, and also that you're on your own journey of empowering yourself to create, but also others. I guess I kind of want to do a little bit of a round, like, we always talk about how we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Like, what are your wildest dreams? Is that something I can ask?
I think that's a great question. I do, because, and I want to just backtrack a second ago when you talked about the connectivity of all of us on this Zoom. 2020 was hard, I'm sure, for everybody on this Zoom, because it was something that's never happened in our lifetime, global pandemic and all that. And a lot of people lost their livelihood, work, whatever it is, a lot of freelancers did. And it was interesting because the film festival is Floyd and I's. This is how we sustain ourselves. And it's been absolutely fantastic. But when 2020 came about, my analogy is it's the new year, it's January, everybody's like, yeah, 2020, it's going to be best year ever. And we're all driving down the highway at night at our own speed, right? And it's nighttime. And all of a sudden we all have to slam the brakes on because there's this big crater in the road. And then we all have to turn our cars or trucks around in the dark and figure out where the hell we're going with no navigation, right? So we're like building the plane and flying it at the same time. And really quickly, what was interesting is that Facebook reached out to us out of the blue. Someone from the organization had been at our festival in the past, and they reached out and they were like, well, what do you think about doing, your festival virtually? And at the time, I didn't really think that virtual activations were going to work, because it's really hard, truth be told, to get random people to go to your website or your Facebook and stay there all day to talk about whatever it is you're going to talk about. And this person was like, no, we want you to do your film festival on your Facebook page. And I thought, well, damn, one thing is for sure during 2020 is that everybody's on Facebook and everybody's on social media. So we did it. We partnered with Facebook, and I had the opportunity to meet Michelle and Katie Jones and Katie Leo, and it has just been an outstanding partnership. We had over 2.5 million views of our film festival last year, and Michelle got to come to our festival this year, and so many attendees and filmmakers were like, oh my God, We The Culture, how do I find out? This is fantastic. So when you talk about wildest dreams, I never thought, because this wasn't, on my vision board, start a film festival, that I would be here 20 years later doing this and partnering with an amazing global, to your point, Dougie, global organization like Facebook. And the fact that you all are committed, and there are people who look like all of us on this screen at this organization that have the leverage and power to do something as spectacular as We The Culture, is fantastic. So we salute you, Michelle, and your team, and thank you for this, because it's absolutely outstanding. So yeah, that's my wildest dream.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I mean, I'm glad that we're ending on this note, because it's going to literally power me through the next several weeks. So let's do it. Who wants to share next?
I think you should popcorn it. I've gone first a few times. I was like,
Dougie, let's go to Dougie. Dougie is not at a loss for words. He said,
well, I was trying to be a gentleman and let the women go first, but since I'm honorary, I guess I can.
You're an honorary woman today, Dougie.
I'm not sure I can say my wildest dreams on Facebook. No, honestly, for me, the reason why, and I just felt like it was a calling. My mother always said that, my calling in life was to be a pastor. I have yet to accept that. I'm not sure, but I do know I have this hero complex or the savior complex, right? And, I think my wildest dream is, hopefully in the next 70, 80 years, when God calls my number, that when I pass away, people could just say Dougie impacted my life. And I think that's what matters most. Yeah. I'm not someone who necessarily cares about social media, but I understand the importance of it. I didn't get into this for clout, attention, fame. My ego is not, I don't need that. But I think my wildest dream truly and genuinely is to impact people's lives for the better. Because one of the things I realized early on is everyone doesn't have the privilege of having positive influences in their life. And a lot of people are lost. And not to say I'm a savior, but that's something that matters to me. I just want to impact people's lives. So if I can do that, I won.
Amen. TT, why don't we go to you?
I would definitely say that I think I am stepping into living my wildest dreams. For me, this experience and just, being a creative has taught me that, you never know where the path will lead and in what form things will come. And I've seen my life just transform in many ways, again, coming from being a musician, which I've said things and I've written things down, and 2020 taught me how to do that because I found myself in solitude and isolation and, shedding a lot of layers and learning. And, 22 was a amazing journey for me. 2020 was an amazing journey for me film wise because, I had this film before it got to Netflix. We were playing in so many virtual festivals, and what that did was it allowed people to experience something that may not have been able to leave their countries or their cities. And so I think it opened a wider accessibility. But ultimately, I'm here to really create the new change that we need to see and add to the representation from the music side of things. To now, and I feel like my wildest dreams is doing it at the highest level that I can do while bringing others up with me who I see in my communities are underserved and not given those resources. And so I feel like I'm a tunnel and a connector to those who need those opportunities. And through Facebook, I've been able to do that, and just through my projects and through the music and everything. So I feel like my wildest dreams is happening currently, and I'm living freely in it day by day and just embracing all the newness that comes with a whole heart.
I have to say amen to that. Everybody's preaching today. Deon, you're gonna get the last word today.
Ooh, I'm gonna get the last word. Okay.
Last word.
I felt you on I'm like living in it. I always say, wow, like I'm so blessed to be where I want to be in life. But I think in addition to that, for me, it's even hard to articulate. I want to create worlds like through art, merging beauty, art, and wellness, right? Through spatial design, through my photography, through my writing, where I'm like creating worlds where people are so consumed by joy, right? They're so consumed by loving themselves. And it's not that it's not reality, but I'm birthing a new reality, especially for Black women, when you think about legacy, I want people to say or remember me by, she taught me how to reclaim my joy, right? She taught me how to live in a way that's like sustainable and unapologetically about it. Like I can give my all, but also be detached in a way that preserves my peace, right? And always remember that the love for myself is the most important thing, because that's the source, joy is the source for all beauty. And yeah, I don't know. I see all of my art practices merging to create different worlds. That's the best way for me to describe it. And I feel very grateful to be able to do that right now through my film or through these installations that I'm doing in these exhibitions. So yeah, I think that's how I would describe it.
Listen, our ancestors would be so proud of all that has been created from each of you, and also the healing that the community so desperately needs, that you're ushering in, the tunnel, the bridge, the support that we're all providing to each other and to our communities as we tell stories and take up space. Thank you to each of you. Thank you to Stephanie and to Floyd for creating the space for us to celebrate Black creativity, excellence, and culture. Do not forget to follow at We The Culture on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. And, watch the space because there's more to see. And we're excited to share it with you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.